Okay, now check. The question is it picking up? Oh, it is picking up. You're gonna see how like finicky I am. Okay, send it to the marketing channel. The big one. Good night. Okay. It's live. It's live.
All right, welcome back, everyone. So for this next session, we're going to do a little bit of a live demo. We're going to play around with Claude together, and we're going to launch a live survey in the room and actually field it to 50 people in the UK. So I wonder what they do is start thinking about what research topic. A good topic for a general population of the UK that would be somewhat interesting for us to get the answers in the to next half hour. And we'll just do it live together. Ideally, I won't have to really touch question pro at all. But as we know, live demos will be able to choose, so we'll see how it goes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just start directly in my Claude system, and I'm just going to prompt it to say, give me a live poll. You guys can scan the QR code and come up with a research idea, and you will also be able to vote on other people's research ideas. So let me go ahead and get started. So what we've done at Question Pro is we've actually released a connector that will connect into your favorite AI. So Claude, ChatGPT, Windsurf, mainly all of the main AIs now actually have a connection into Claude. So what you can do is you can just prompt Claude to actually go in and start operating a system like Question Pro on its own. I've done a little bit of training here, so do I have Claude users in the room? How many? All right, I'm gonna do some adoption. ChatGPT, open AI. So, I mean, all kind of AI systems have this, right? This concept of like a skill, it's really just a document, right? It's the same way that you would train your team. You kind of say, hey, this is what we've got to do. Let's come up with, do this, don't do that. That's basically what's in this kind of XDay demo runner skill. So you can see it kind of recognized, hey, we're doing an XDay demo. It knows now we're live, and it's going through and actually building out a live poll in Question Pro. It's naming it. It's actually gone in and now set it live. It knows the pin for that session, And now it's actually generating a QR code and a URL that all of you are going to be able to navigate to and give a research idea. So go ahead and scan this QR code, put in a research idea, put your name next to it, and then after you put in a research idea, vote for other ones that you see. Let's see if we can't get something to kind of bubble to the top. Now, I'm purposely not looking at this, right? The whole point is that we're actually coming up with something in the room, right? I haven't actually prepared, right? I don't know what the research topic is going to be. So come up with something interesting. We're going to only send this to 50 people in the UK because, frankly, with 30 minutes, our kind of biggest bottleneck is actually going to be the field time. So this is not going to match Jane's MRS standard of real research. But if we had more than a half hour, obviously we could go to a much bigger, broader audience, or even kind of a specialist audience to question. I like that it's actually giving me a voiceover to answer. So I'm not looking at this live poll. Lizzie, Neil, maybe tell me when you actually see something that's had some votes, and then I'll let Todd kind of actually run with it. But hopefully we're getting some interesting ideas. It doesn't have to be something crazy. Something interesting that we can kind of chew on for the next 25 minutes.
Do you have any?
No, I'm okay, thank you. No.
What do we think? How's it looking in there? Do we see something bubbling to the top? Need more votes. Need more votes. Need more votes. Just vote for something. Something bubbling. How many do we have in there right now? 15. Okay. Well, maybe let's ask Paul to choose for us. All right. Very good, very good. So you can see here, I'm not doing any sort of like crazy prompting by any standard. This is not prompt engineering. I'll be a prompt engineer, I'll take it. But I'm literally just saying, we've got some ideas, go ahead and pick the top one and run this survey. Now it's probably got a little bit more data than it's used to now that we're doing this in a bigger room. So it's going to think about this and it's going to pull something to the top and then start going and writing a survey to actually get us some feedback. Ooh, this is interesting. Okay. So which UK city has the best food scene? Feedback on McDonald's. Do we have which group? Okay, great. Thank you for listening. Good idea. Do you have an opinion on anything else? What's the answer? One. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Does anybody have anything else, like other opinions on what we think the UK general population is? Is this maybe 5 to 11? That might be an intelligent one. To actually go to the entire world, this question. So while this is working, for those of you that have used Pod, I mean, when I switched over to ChatGPT to Pod, I had to kind of get used to the fact that it does more thinking, which is kind of a good thing. But it does mean that you let it kind of ride and do its thing for a little bit, and you kind of go work on something else, which is nice. So the fun thing here is that even though this would probably going to take 20 minutes to a half an hour to actually run, I mean, my gears have been on the keyboard for about 20 seconds, right? I could be washing the dishes or in a meeting or going for the walk to get it at this point and still getting this survey done. Looks like it's created a survey here. It's got 13 questions in there. Let's go take a peek in Question Pro and actually see what it's up to. So there's a survey. You can see here it's actually created at UK's best food scene. XDay London live, created today, modified a minute ago. Let's go in and actually see what it looks like so far. So it's gone in and started adding some demographic questions here. What's your age? What's your gender? This is probably an important question, depending on how people are going to answer the overall research question. We probably want to know where they live. So that's a good starting point. Like, how much do you actually enjoy eating out and exploring food? And it's gone in and actually chosen this list. So it's kind of smart enough to know that this is probably going to be a list that you're going to put on a single select. I thought that's actually quite interesting. It all feels like, well, we have to have other options here as well. We need to make sure that we have some representation here. How would you rate the food scene where you live? It's putting some open ends in here. It's looking at pick 3, so multiple selection. What matters to you most when judging a city's food scene? Variety of cuisines, fine dining. It's putting a matrix question for us. So this, Greg, is going to be an interesting one for us. The best food in the UK is found outside of London. It's picking on London here, right? It knows that that's going to be the battle. It's interesting. I would travel to another UK city specifically for its food. Independent restaurants matter more than big names. It's throwing in an NPS question for us. How likely do you recommend where you live as a food destination to a friend? And then it's giving us like a nice open end at the end there. And you can see again, I've actually not clicked on anything. It's now gone and published the survey. So it kind of knows, hey, just go ahead and publish it. Now, I put that into the training document here. So if I come back to Claude, kind of see what it's up to. It's gone and actually looked at our self-serve audience module. It's figured out, okay, it's feasible for 100 completes. This is somewhat interesting because I've always run this on 50 completes. It's now decided maybe that I'm on stage and it wants to go and do something. Let's go for 100. Let's spend the big bucks. We're going to spend $150. What it doesn't know is that we do need this to get fielded in 7 minutes. But now it's saying, well, I'm going to get it done in 12 to 15 minutes. So it's making some decisions here on its own. Now, what I've done is I've put in a skill. And so as I did kind of practice runs with this, I've created this skill that basically tells it what it should do. Okay, go build a short survey, right? I mean, you guys can build any big survey through this kind of connector, but we're trying to do a relatively short live demo. I wanted to launch via self-serve audience. I guess I did say in my skill, target 50 completes. Maybe I should have made that a little bit more of a requirement. It should only be 50 completes. Build a BI dashboard. You can see here too the practice runs. We've kind of added in some feedback, hey, name the live poll, things like that. So this can be any training document that you can create, right? You can go in and say, hey, I always want to have these screening questions, or I always want to do an ad concept test in this way or that way. You can train it to do anything you want, and you can use any input that you want, right? Here, we use a live poll. We captured that for you guys, and then we went and ran a survey based on that. It could be a meeting transcript. It could be another survey that you have running somewhere else. It could be a document that you give it. The AI will just take that and start building around it. Okay, it's making pretty good progress here. It's built out a dashboard already. It wants me to drag different widgets in different places. It's only been 90 seconds through launch, so we should hit the full 108 to 12 minutes. We'll see how that goes. I mean, that's the part that's really out of our hands, right? How long is it going to take 100 people in the UK at 8:30 p.m. to go in and fill out this survey? But in the training document, in the skill, I've kind of specifically said, hey, for speed, like just go launch the thing. I don't really need to review it or kind of look at the audience spec before you actually go and launch. That's something that likely in a real world scenario, you'd have a human in the loop, right? You'd actually review the survey. You'd make sure that it's kind of targeting the right audience. You'd have your methodologies baked into the skill, and you treat that with a little bit more rigor than what we're doing today, obviously. Well, let me come back to Question Pro. Let's head over to analytics and see if we're getting anything so far. So we got 6 complete so far, right? It's working through this. I mean, interestingly, is like this is getting an 100% completion rate, so that's somewhat unique. I guess people who are setting this to are interested in Greg's topics. So thank you for that. You can see it did a good job of building out a short survey. The survey's taking 55 seconds, and it's not one single question, right? We can actually slice and dice this data in a few different ways. But Claude is basically on pause now, right? It's like, okay, cool. We just gotta go let this thing fill at this point, right? We've got people out there that are taking the survey. So while that runs, I'll show you a little bit about where you can kind of see all the different things that you can do with these connectors. So if you go to mcp.questionpro.com, you'll kind of see all of the different tools that we've released that you can use. You know, the way we kind of talk about it is headless, right? That I actually am showing you Question Pro. I wouldn't even have to go into Question Pro, right? You can use it all through your agent of choice. You can see here the agents that we support today: Claude, ChatGPT, Cursor, Windsurf, Code. I think we are turning on Copilot here relatively soon. But this is pretty cool, right? There's actually 313 tools available that you can use and operate in Question Pro through these connectors. We've used very few of these with this very simplistic survey, but if I go into like audience, you'll see the types of tools that you can use. You know, we're creating a project, we calculated a price, but you can look at, you know, post-launch statistics. You can ask your agent to go and get all the projects that you have or build out the different audience criteria. Let's go back to our survey builder tools. I'll just give you a general sense. So you can do anything in Question Pro, even on the CX side. You can operate the closed loop, BI, I'll show you here in a little bit, communities, CX, Insights Hub, employee experience, live polls. So we did do a live poll using headless. Survey builder, right? That's the big one. And you can see here, you know, we didn't really do like a very complex survey, but you can add blogs, delete blogs, do blog randomization. You can delete questions. So you can go in and iterate here. You can add logic, show hide logic, skip logic. You can unpublish. You can do question properties all through the tool. So you can check out this page. It's mcp.questionpro.com, and you'll see all of the different tools that you can turn on and use through your agent of choice effectively. This stuff in the age of AI is actually really fast to develop. You can imagine our developers are using AI to develop this. And so these 313 tools weren't even available like 3 weeks ago. It's like moving at that sort of speed. And so if you came to us and said, hey, I want to make sure that I can set up my conjoint in this way, or I want to make sure that in my matrix, my heat map question, I can add this sort of image. Those are the things that we can probably create or will be created relatively soon in the next few weeks. It's available today, so if you've got access to any of these kind of compatible agents, assistants, and a Question Pro license that is available in all our Question Pro licenses, you can just go ahead and turn this on. We've got some help files here on how to actually connect it, and then you're basically off to the races. You can go in and do this exact same thing. So let's come back here. Let's see how many completes we've got so far. That's pretty good, 77. Still at 100% completion rate in a minute. So I'm going to have Claude go ahead and start the analysis. 77 plus. Go ahead with the analysis. You don't need to have exact spelling. Sorry, you can figure it out. Because I don't embarrass myself on stage. It's going to go through, it's going to do its thing. It's going to pull the data set. I've kind of asked it to try to come back with, you know, some storylines that are somewhat easy for us to digest in a room relatively quickly. Any predictions while Claude does its thing? Any questions about how it works and what you can do with it?
I would say London.
Okay, we've got that prediction.
Bristol.
I don't know. We don't know. We don't actually-
Bristol.
It's just based on population size alone.
That's true. That's
So
good.
if at 77, there's going to be a certain percentage that will be based in London.
That's true. And the nice thing here is that we ask those questions about where they live. So we could, if we have time, actually ask Claude to go run some crosstabs and figure out what people outside of London say. And then try to do a little statistical analysis here. I don't know if we're going to have time, but that's actually baked in here. Well, there you go. Right, we're right. London wins the popularity contest. But interestingly, it loses the love. Half the country names it best, yet a majority say it's overrated for the price.
Yeah.
And almost no one will recommend their own area as a food destination. The real opportunity for a UK food brand isn't another premium London concept. It's a value-led, independent, regional, and curry-driven. Very interesting. And you can see here it's kind of giving us some statistics, right? Okay, we ended up getting 88 please before we went ahead and did the analysis. Half of respondents named London. Second best was Manchester. Do we have any Manchester predictions? Yeah, all right, very good. So 15%. Claude says it's a mile wide. It's an inch deep when I like his commentary. The same people say London is overrated. A 56% majority agree London is overrated for food given the prices. So that is quite interesting for taking cost into consideration here. It adds up with everything we talked about, cost of living crisis. This is what's on people's mind. If you're a brand, if you're a restaurant chain and you're doing market research, that's got to come into the equation, right? So Claude actually did a good job of kind of picking that out as a market research topic. 42% think the best food is actually found there. This is interesting. Nobody's bragging about the food in their own backyard. But great surprise is the value amount of fine dining. Value for money topped the list of what makes a great food scene at 64%, while fine dining sat near the bottom at 27%. The single strongest consensus in the whole study. 75% say independent restaurants matter more than big name chains. Very interesting. When asked what's underrated, they don't say nothing. They say, great. Manchester was named the most the name city uncommented. So in the open ends, Manchester was the one that came up. And the loudest theme was curry capital, Birmingham and Bradford. Alongside humble classics like fish and chips and Yorkshire puddings.
Can you reweigh?
Sorry.
Can you reweigh the sample just because it says that it recommends you to reweigh based on the fact that there are more fuel than men?
Yeah. Let's ask you to. Let's see what it comes up with. Can you reweigh
On gender and
So-
region.
on gender and region? See if we come up with different insights. All right, we'll let Claude do his thing there. Time check. I think we're actually pretty good on time. Got what, 8 minutes now? Are we over? We're over. Let's go look at the actual data, right? Claude did his thing. It also went ahead, I think, and built out a BI dashboard. Yep, there it is, UK's best food scene. And you'll see here, it's actually created this BI dashboard. It's kind of said, when you travel for food, it's built out these charts, interest in food, NPS, it's got some verbatims in here. It's built out this tab around the story. So it's kind of said, okay, this is important. Bristol comes out fish and chips. So these are our open ends. How they rate their local food scene. So a lot of people are just kind of saying it's average. I mean, this kind of doesn't align with our NPS question a little bit, right? People are actually saying excellent and good here quite a bit. Best food outside London. So here, we asked, is the best food in the UK is outside London? The right side here strongly agree. And yeah, I mean, not a lot of people disagree with that. Independent restaurants matter. That's a pretty big skew on that one. And when we say what actually makes a great food scene, we've got value of money and variety of cuisines kind of coming to the top here. So at least you've got some raw data. Todd went out and built out this dashboard based on what it thought was kind of the right story, the right charts. You can see it actually kind of picked the charts based on the question types and the story that it wanted to tell. These are all things that you can kind of train into your model as you build out dashboards. You kind of make your life easier with AI. Okay, it did say you had a good call. 65% female skew and the North heavy region split are exactly what could be distorting city rankings. Three-way, I need respond level data, so I can break the weights, not just the margins, when we find the right tool. So you can see here, out of those 355 tools that I showed you on the other page, it's kind of picking what's the right tool to do this job, right? It's saying, okay, I need to get surveys response to this tool in order to do this. It's seeing that, okay, it's a relatively large data set that includes all the open ends. So it's actually kind of spun off a sub agent to parse it down into categorical fields that I don't know what to call it, weight and write in a slim CSV. So let's see how long it takes. It's kind of spinning up sub agents doing its thing. But we got pretty far in 20 minutes, right? From completely new concept all the way to gathering some data here. And I didn't think that was 2 minutes, 3 minutes on the keyboard itself, right? I mean, we could have spent in a meeting or having a walk or doing something else for the most part while Claude was doing his thing and we were gathering data. So we'll see what comes back here. I think I'll go for another 4 minutes. Any questions, comments, how you use this? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely mindful of like say routing spaces at our firm. But of course, risk, so checks and balances. So whenever you're writing your instructions or your training model, actually we put more reviews in place for doing this. Second question is around the audit log, I guess. I've already seen our recipes saying, can you show an audit log of what AI is, what actions did on it, data and access, that kind of thing.
Yeah, good question. So in terms of kind of human in the loop, a lot of that will come down to the training documents and the prompts. So purposely here, I said, just go for it. And you can even see in the very light prompting that I did, I said, go build the survey and launch it, right? For the most part, what you would do is say, build me the structure of the survey first. Let me review it. You probably are going to be a little bit more prescriptive in terms of use these question types. This is the audience spec that I want to go after. And then you're going to stop. You're going to review it. Typically what would happen if I was running a real survey is I would then go review that survey and come back with a bunch of comments, right? Like, hey, why are you should you add validation here? Maybe there should be some logic on this side. Your audit log question is a good one. I don't know the answer to that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the surveys tool and I'm going to see in the version control if it's versioned. So Claude built it once, so I don't know if there would be multiple versions. So it does look like it went through 3 versions. So you've got a pretty good audit log here. So you can see, and there's a note to this report. So you can see it had all these questions. Then it did nothing. And then it updated these test questions. I think what it did is, what it did was it went in, so it added these questions, and then it realized that these 3 probably need some logic based on what they answered to the previous question. And then it went and applied to show by logic on there. So there actually is a relatively good audit trail here. You can preview these versions, you can restore the versions as well. So you've got a level of human control here. I think you could ask Claude to take the problem. That's true. Yeah, you should be able to ask Claude to audit itself as well. So about
There's nothing wrong with that at all, right? Checks and balances.
I don't see this. As long as you can see it from two different perspectives. It may not get us our weighted and balanced data in time, but any last questions? Yeah, go for it.
This is really cool for like building out your survey. What if there was something to your data that might be built from an external source to build like something together? Would that be something you would do? Like just like putting it into your code and like it would pull bits like that information from your data? Or is there a way that everything is actually very good?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could go and just upload everything to Question Pro, right? I mean, it kind of depends. Like to me, it's kind of like how do you do your analysis today, right? So we've got customers where that BI dashboard that I showed you is kind of the main way that they would do their analysis. If that's the way that you're doing things, you probably want to put all the data into Question Pro. Your BI dashboard kind of becomes your home source of truth. A lot of other customers are just downloading the CSVs, exporting the raw data, and then analyzing it offline. In that case, combining those data sets offline is probably perfectly fine. You can see here, so this question, even though we probably aren't going to get the answer, the interesting thing here is that Claude made the call that it's just easiest for it to pull this down into a CSV and analyze this in a CSV instead of using Question Pro's weighting and balancing tools. That might be because we actually don't have those tools in the MCP. And so it's made the call and say, let me just go and do this offline. So you can kind of get there in different directions depending on what's best for you. Questions? All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you guys can dream up a whole bunch of different use cases. All right, we got a nice team.